Thanks for watching Prepper Nation. Remember to subscribe. That is truly appreciated. Katie Heflin and also Julie Huss. Wow. Thank y'all ladies very, very much for the coffee this morning and beyond. So quickly, I was going to talk about a boring subject this morning, winterizing the home, because I actually have that scheduled this afternoon, but it's freaking hot outside, son, and I think I'm going to hold off on that one anyway. So we may talk about that down the road a little bit once the colder weather gets here in my neck of the woods, so to speak. Two excellent, very relevant comments came in yesterday. One on Facebook, over in the Facebook community, the second here on YouTube. And I saw them both. They're very similar. And I said, wow, I got to talk about that, this topic this morning, because I think it can benefit some people out there. These two folks cannot be the only two that are going through this. Okay. So, and I just want to give both of these individuals some advice. So, first of all, Billy over on Facebook, he left a post and I shortened it down, because I had to write stuff down, chicken scratch it down. But he basically said he wants to get his family included and involved with the prepping. He's doing the things, he's prepping, he's trying to get the family involved, and they're not interested. They just won't have anything, they won't hear of it. They don't care about the prepping whatsoever. And so he was asking Facebook, the community over there, for any advice. And somebody, I forget who, I'm so sorry, but it was so funny. She said it applies to her as well. Sometimes she feels like she's the violin player on the Titanic. Ship's going down. She's just at this point trying to calm people down. So I wrote down a little bit of advice. This is what I would do in your situation. But of course, I don't know all of the details. Billy, I don't know how deep you are into the prepping, how much you've pushed it on your family. I don't know if you're talking about immediate family, extended family, maybe both. So the first thing I would do, because 'tis the season, I would start with Christmas gifts. I would put a lot of thought into Christmas gifts, and here's why. I would make them prepping related. I actually do this now, with the one caveat being extended family, like nephews and wife's nieces and nephews. We still buy them toys. I mean, they're knee high. You know what I'm saying? But everybody else in our family gets stuff that's prepping related. You know what I mean? So, for example, we will buy the mother-in-law, not this year, but in years past, because I ain't trying to ruin it, because she does watch the channel sometimes. Years past, we've bought her like Columbia pullovers. And she'll open them up and she'll be like, "Oh my God, I love this Columbia pullover." And then we'll slide in the fact, well, it's going to keep you warm up to this amount of degrees, 20 degrees or whatever the case may be. So we always, they're kind of prepping themed. You know what I mean? We've given out silver bullion before with this reason in mind. And look, family does not always, you can kind of tell. They're like, "Oh, thanks," but sometimes you can tell they really don't want them. Here's a battery heated coat, for example, Milwaukee coat or something, and they're like, "Wow, thanks." But you can tell they hate the gift, but still, yeah, you are giving a decent gift. You are giving a prepping related gift without being too heavy handed about it. And I think that's one way to get people thinking about prepping. Now, they may hate you for it. Hopefully they don't. I mean, it's a gift after all, but um, I don't know. Just let them know about the money that you're saving, maybe. This is another thing with prepping on pretty much every level, whether you're prepping to the point where you're going to be on doomsday preppers or something like that, like you're just full blown hitting it, or you're just a casual prepper. Either way, you're probably saving money. Probably saving money on groceries. You've learned how to batch cook, so you're saving money on that end. You've got stable. You've got gas stored up. You bought the gasoline when it was cheaper, than it is right now. So you're saving money. Let people know. There's no shame in letting people know about that. Um, the biggest question I would have here for you is, are you going to be prepping for these people or no? So, and there's no wrong answer on that. Some people are going to be like, of course, they're my family, they're my extended family, maybe. I'm going to be prepping for these people. Other responses are going to be like, nope. If they don't live in this house already, they better not show up. And again, no incorrect answer there, but that's something that you have to ask yourself here and now. If these people wake up, great, but if they don't, and their extended family or maybe really, really good friends, are you gonna are you gonna put in the extra effort to bail them out? Because it can go one of two ways. Okay, these people can show up with just uh Tiny Tim off the is it the Christmas Story? Tiny Tim, spare a dime for a beggar, sir, or whatever he says. I ain't seen the movie in a long time, son. But the point is, they may just show up empty handed, expecting. But on the flip side, if you bail somebody out, you may actually turn that person into a prepper. And so I don't know how long you've been here in the community, but that's actually what happened to me. I was not a prepper. I had a friend who stayed after me constantly. With He was like you in many ways. He was trying to get me involved with the prepping. I didn't want to hear it. I was busy with other things, right? And then got totally exposed as a non-prepper. And to be honest with you, I don't know that I would be prepping if it wasn't for him bailing me out because now when he bailed me out, he was eating T-bone steaks and I was eating rice-a-roni. And my family had bottled water while he was drinking, I think it was Coors Light or something like that. But the point is, he bailed me out with the understanding that I was going to start prepping after we had our tornado up there. And I promised him I would, and I did start. Um, and that's how I actually got into prepping. So, not always a bad thing to prep for extended family and friends. It just depends on when they get exposed and when they get caught with their pants down, so to speak. How do they respond to it? Do they just take your stuff for free and expect it next time around and still don't prep? To me, that would not be cool. So, wake up moments happen differently for everybody. And this is one thing that drives me crazy about zombies, as I've said in late 2023. Like, what kind of wake up moment does somebody need? We got wars happening all over the place. We just left a pandemic. We're in financial ruin as a country. Everything's unstable here in the United States of America. We got violence starting to pop up because of the war between Palestine and Israel or Gaza and Israel. I mean, it's just like, what else do you need? Understand also there's a stigma when it comes to prepping. You need to be careful, I think. And again, I don't know the situation, but you need to be mindful of those stigmas going in. So the stigmas are that we're nuts, that we hoard, and that we wear tinfoil on our head. So you need to be sure you're not hoarding, number one, okay? Because it's a bad look to a non-prepper. You need to be sure that you're not wearing tinfoil on your head, things of this nature. Also, I wanted to speak real quickly on what I call residual prepping. Now, this isn't going to apply to extended family so much as it is people that live in your home with you, right? So, residual prepping, this is just one example. Residual prepping, I'm at the grocery store with my wife, and my two kids are there. And my kids are, kids, so they're not full blown preppers. But as we're putting stuff into the cart, buggy, whatever, my wife is putting it in there. I'm explaining to my kids casually, we're getting powdered peanut butter because it lasts longer. We're getting powdered milk because it has a lot longer shelf life, and milk typically goes bad very quickly. That doesn't mean that my kids are going to retain all this information. They're probably like, Dad, shut up, son. What is going on? But they will retain some of it. You'd be surprised. Um, I would say be consistent with what you're prepping and why you're prepping it. You know what I mean? In other words, don't be prepping for aliens on Thursday and then come Monday, now you're prepping for nukes. and all of this stuff. Be consistent, give a consistent message. I think people respond to that better. And look for openings to have that conversation. Um, just because they're not prepping and they seem like they're not interested, eventually they may come to you with a question, or eventually something may happen out here in the wild and it'll pop up on the news and they'll be like, I don't understand why something like this would happen. How can our society allow something like this to happen? That's an opening for you to casually slide in and start explaining, this is why I'm prepping, because stuff like this happens constantly throughout history, okay? And it's better to be safe than sorry. Stuff like that. So it was an excellent post. And again, that's on our Facebook page. If you folks are over there, please head over and give some advice there. The other one came across on, I wrote down Facebook, but it was YouTube, son. And it was kind of a sad post. This is from Lita Knows here on YouTube, and there were several replies as I'm filming this. She basically said, my granddaughter doesn't want anything to do with me at this point. She says my prepping has affected her mental health. And I thought this is a really sad post, because people are out here. I know there are people out there that have spouses or significant others or children maybe, or siblings that they just don't understand. They don't understand why you're prepping. They don't get it. They don't want anything to do with it. Like we were just talking about with Billy, his family doesn't want anything to do with it. But this poor lady, her granddaughter is taking it to another level. She's basically saying, because you're a prepper, just stay away from me. And again, ma'am, I don't know the circumstances there. I don't know what that family dynamic looks like. So it would be wrong of me to sit here and give you absolute advice. I'm just going to speak off the cuff. Okay. So try not to force prepping. And I'm not saying that you have been forcing prepping on your granddaughter. But again, try not to force it. If you know this young lady is just absolutely not interested in prepping, that's not the right time to talk about it. Okay? Be this young lady's grandmother first. And if that's what you're doing, that's absolutely fantastic on your part. Understand, zombies take baby steps. And I don't mean that as a knock against your granddaughter, okay? When I say zombies, just in case you're new here, I'm talking about non-preppers. But zombies take little bitty steps. They're very slow in most cases, right? Even if this young lady gets interested into prepping, or even if she's willing at some point to entertain that conversation, you're going to have to take baby steps into that conversation. You cannot start with the world's going to end in 1 year. You got to get ready. You cannot start with there's going to be an alien invasion within 6 months. You got to get ready. You cannot do any of that stuff. You have to start realistically. And this is a bad habit that some of us preppers have. And I'm not going to say that I don't. If you have this habit, you're guilty of it. You see the world for what it really is. And you see how many lies and how much manipulation is out here. And you want to wake other people up. But sometimes approaching people like your hair is on fire is a bad way to go about it, because it's a turn off for some zombies. They just don't get it. You have to talk to them almost in baby talk, baby steps and baby talk. Again, you have to explain, grandma saves money this way, right? Grandma's doing this because grandma has lived through power outages and bad storms and things, and found herself with nothing and learned over the years, this is how we do it. I want to tell y'all a story real quick. Reddit. Y'all know, hopefully somebody out there is familiar with Reddit. I had somebody send me on Patreon. Now, this has been months ago. And I clicked the link and it went to a Reddit page. And the Reddit page the conversation was created by somebody. some guy. I don't know who it is, but he was saying, "Please help. I need advice. My grandma's prepping. She watches prepping channels on YouTube." My name was not mentioned, by the way. There were a couple, but my name was not mentioned. And he said, "How do I get her to stop?" And I looked at this comment for a few seconds, and I had to sign up for an account just to log in, just to reply to this guy. But I said, maybe your grandma's smarter than you are. You know, maybe she is smarter than you are. Have you ever considered that concept? Young people, not all of them, of course, but many young people, they go through and they're fresh out of college or they're in the universities right now, and because they're learning things, they think they know everything. Maybe they're not even in college. Some teenagers are just that way. I was that way. But have you considered that your family member who's older than you are may actually know more than you do, degree or not, and that you might actually be the problem, not your family member? I don't know. I left a comment, something like that, to some degree. If you ever find it, it's a zombie post now on Reddit or whatever. But remember this, man. Okay, again, I don't know the family dynamic, but remember this. At the end of the day, you are entitled to happiness. Everybody is entitled to be happy. Okay, not just your granddaughter, not other siblings, not just your kids, but you're entitled to it as well. And for me, life experience matters the most. Um, I love to read. Okay. I think you can learn a lot by reading. I really do. But you can also learn a lot by doing. I'm going to give you an example of what I'm talking about. So let's backtrack to 2015. Any of us could have picked up a book on the Spanish flu and what life was like during the pandemic. And we could have read that book and we could have had a fair understanding of what life during a pandemic was like. Okay. But then we got to live through one and we got to experience one firsthand. So that knowledge to me is more important than something I read in a book. And life experience, and I'm bringing this up because you're a grandmother. So I can only assume you've had more life experience than this young lady. And again, maybe you know more than she does. And young people are hard-headed in this way. Many young people don't understand preparedness. Getting jumping back into yesterday's conversation for just a second, they don't understand preparedness because everything has been so easy. Many kids now in college and the like, they were born into an age when we already had the internet. We already had that instant gratification. It's just gotten worse and worse and worse. They don't remember. Uh, a lot of people yesterday brought up microwave dinners. That's when it all started. I'm old enough to remember the ones that came in the metal trays that you threw in the oven. But I digress. The point is, life experience matters more than book smart, in my opinion. And if you have a lot of life experience and there's a reason that you are prepping, don't be ashamed of that. And don't let somebody take that away from you because you are probably not the problem. All right. Now, again, if you're hoarding to the rafters and you force this on this young lady for 18 years or whatever, okay, maybe that's not the case, but just based on what you left yesterday, you deserve to be happy like everybody else. And if prepping makes you happy, that's nobody else's business. And if this young lady or if somebody is out there, again, if you have a spouse or you have a sibling or kids or something, and they don't want anything to do with you because you're a prepper, that's unfair. Because as long as you are happy, they should still approach you. Maybe she doesn't want anything to do with the prepping, but you're still grandma, and if she can't separate one from the other, that's her problem. So please don't stop prepping for these people. Do what makes you happy. And anybody else that's out there in the same situation, okay? Don't let people take that joy away from you. Not only is it very, very smart, especially if you have life experience, You've probably been in a situation or two where you've gotten caught. I sure have. This is why prepping is smart. It just makes sense in that way. But also, if it brings you joy and it's not hurting anybody else, it's nobody else's business. They can be interested in it if they want to. Great. If they are, be there as a resource to answer questions. If they're not interested, they still need to approach you like a family member, because at the end of the day, you're this young lady's grandmother. That's just my 2 cents, but I can't wait to see the comments. Folks, thank you very much, and again, thank you to the ladies who bought the coffee and then some, this morning. Y'all take care and God bless.